Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to another video of Amaya Explains It All. And in today's video, we are kicking off the first week of summer with Camp Week. And I am interviewing Yasmine, who's going to tell us all about her awesome experience hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. So tune in to find out what that's all about.
That courage is a muscle, that you have to use it. So I had to,
Can you tell us a little bit about what the Pacific Coast Trail is?
It's a footpath that starts, depending on where you start, but I started at the border with California and Mexico, and it crosses all of California, all of Oregon, and all of Washington, and it ends at the border of the US and Canada.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's about 2,600 miles. The mileage varies every year depending on, whether there's fires and detours, but most people agree that it's about 2,600 miles.
What experience did you have prior to doing the trail?
So I started hiking in earnest about 10 years ago. I should give you a little bit of background about my own story. I was born in the US. When I was 8 years old, my family and I moved to Mexico, and that's where my parents are from. And so I grew up in a very small town. And so it was partly rural. So I, spent time in nature, but hiking wasn't a thing, not like we know it here. I didn't have any gear or any of that stuff. So, and, my family, not really camping people. So when I came back to the US, I went to high school, finished college, and it wasn't until I was in my 30s that I just, started hiking. I can't really say exactly how that, came about. I've been a runner for 20 years, so maybe that had something to do with it. Yeah, I've run about 21 marathons, and so, but they're mostly on roads, like a big city marathon is on a street. So I wanted to find something else to do that was not as hard on my knees, because as you get older, you start thinking, okay, what kind of exercise can I do, when I'm older? And so I started hiking. And so that's sort of how I got into hiking. And once I got into hiking, I started seeing, people with big backpacks and became introduced to the idea of backpacking. And, I read the book by Cheryl Strayed, Wild. There's also a movie with Reese Witherspoon.
What did your family, how did the people in your life respond to you when you told them that this was something you wanted to do?
Well, I have to say, so I started my hike on March 29th of 2019, last year. And I waited until February to tell my mom. Oh my like a month, maybe 5-6 weeks before, just because I was so freaked out that she was gonna totally freak. But she had actually really good reaction. And, up to now, I've been hiking, for, 10 years, and I've been backpacking. So I would tell my mom, when I go to Yosemite, when I'd go with friends. So this wasn't a total shock to her. It wasn't like I just came out of the blue one day and said I was going to go hiking for 6 months. Yeah. But, she was obviously concerned. She wanted to know, about bears and, about all the things that, anything bad that can happen. She would come, tell me, oh, did you hear about the guy who got eaten by a bear? And that's not helpful, but she was very supportive. She was very supportive, but she kind of tends to go to the worst case scenario. As moms do.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think my whole family was really supportive, and it was really a team effort. So everybody has sort of their own goals going in. Mine was to finish, just to get to Canada. And so to be able to finally get to the Canadian border, that was a huge sense of accomplishment.
So what was your favorite part about, I'm sure there's many, but if you could point to one event or experience or anything.
Oh my gosh, there's just several moments, and I think what they all have in common is that it's about where you are, being at Crater Lake, for instance, was great, but it's more about the people that you're with. All the awesome times that I had was when something happened that was really unexpected, like there's serendipity, like there's a time that we were going into a town. It's in Northern California. It's called Sayad Valley. It's close to the border with Oregon. And we had to do this road walk. The trail actually follows a road, a paved road for, I don't know, at least 5 miles. And so I was really dreading it, I'm just like, oh, this sucks, because it's really hot. And if you're not on the trail, then, kind of hiking on a road is not really it's not really pretty. There's nothing, enjoyable about it. I just was hiking just to get to town. And so I was kind of complaining about it. And then, I was with my hiking buddy and a pickup truck just pulls out of nowhere. He's like, hey, you guys want to ride into town? And we're like, yes. And so we got rides into town, in the town of Quincy in also in NorCal. I wasn't even asking for a ride. I was just, getting ready to get back on the trail. And a lady in a Prius pulled up and said, hey, do you want to get back to the trail? I'm like, yes. And so just things would happen. And so hikers call this trail magic.
But can you tell us like what a trail angel is?
A trail angel, it can be anyone. A trail angel is someone who does something for a hiker. A trail angel is someone who picks up a hiker that's asking for a ride on the side of the road. A hiker is a volunteer who will put people up in their homes, who will offer someone a place to shower, even someone just offering you a bottle of water, when you're going, through a part of the trail. So anybody can be a trail angel, and trail angels are really, I think they're really the heart of the PCT, because a lot of it is obviously, traveling through this footpath that has a lot of history and goes through these really beautiful parts of the country, a lot of national parks. But I think the trail angels are really what that make it even more memorable, and it just shows you that, at least for me, I kind of believe that people are good at heart and do things because they want to help others, and it's just someone who's selfless and just wants to help. So love trail angels, count trail angels among my friends, and I hope to do that for other people too. So now that I've hiked a trail and I know what hikers need, then I'm able to offer that to people going forward. It's not really diverse, there's not a lot of people of color out there. There's, I think, more parity as to women versus men, but I didn't see, a lot of Black, Latinos, people of color, and I think partly because you have to have certain disposable income, right, to be able to save up and take the time off, and not everybody's able to do that. So there's a certain accessibility issue, right? Not everybody has access to this. So I like to encourage people, if they're able to, and if they can get started by joining a local hiking club, or they can borrow gear, so that if you want to do it, but you don't really want to spend the money, you don't know if you're going to be using it for long term, you can start like borrowing gear or renting gear, and try to get into it that way. I like to encourage everybody to do that as much as possible. There's organizations out there, for young people, Outward Bound Adventures. There's Latino Outdoors, Outdoor Afro. There's all these organizations that are trying to get more people of color out there, and young people, so that we all can feel that these are our lands, these public lands, and there's we all have a place in these spaces, and I think that we all need to take up that space, just be there and enjoy everything, because we are the stewards, right? Like if someone wants to build condos in the middle of Yosemite, nobody cares because nobody's been there, then how are we going to advocate for these spaces? So I think that's another reason why people should care and should get out there as well, as far as for all the other benefits for your health and your spirit, to be in nature.
I just want to say, you said you're in your 40s, and I'm going to tell people now they have to do it because you look amazing. I was like I for sure thought you were like in your 20s.
Oh my gosh, that just makes my day. Thank you.
No, being truly honest, like that's like that was shocking for me. Like you're very youthful spirit as well. So um now I'm gonna have to tell people this is the key to being young.
Well, I have to say, Becca knows this too. Like I've been a runner since it was in my 20s, and so I started, being interested in physical fitness when I found out that my dad had diabetes. He doesn't speak English very well, so I went to the doctor with him as his translator, and so I translated for him that he had diabetes. And to me, that was really it was eye-opening. It was sort of a wake-up call. And then, as a journalist in my career, I covered stories of, how diabetes and heart disease and cholesterol, like all these illnesses, how they're prevalent among people of color. And so I sort of saw myself, that was my future if I didn't, take care of myself. And back then I didn't. So I just decided just to do something to so that my future self would thank me, right? So now I look back at that, 20-year-old, and that 20-year-old thanks present me because, doing little things for that long, I think it does have a good effect on, physically and also kind of the youthfulness that you mentioned, just having that sort of that open mind to always try new things. That's part of it too. It's not just the physical fitness, but also mentally is always being open to learning and I never feel like I'm done. Like there's always something new to learn and new to discover. So I would recommend for people to go online and go to their local county recreation page. And so they will have hiking trails, and generally they'll tell you the level of difficulty, how far it is, what the elevation gain is. And so you just pay attention to the elevation, see how steep it is, and decide how far you want to go. And always carry water, carry a snack. I have the 10 essentials that we call it in hiking when I go on a day hike. Includes water, sunscreen, some sort of navigation device. In most cases, it'll be your cell phone, if you're in an area that has reception.
Yeah.
Carry a hat, like I said, carry water, and another layer, just in case it gets cold. Sometimes things can happen even on a trail that, we think it's pretty easy. Some things can go sideways, falling off the side of the trail, and then you end up, hurting your limbs, or in a way that you can't hike out. And so some situations end up being serious, and they can be diminished, or it can be made a little easier if you're just prepared for any eventuality. So I would say check with your local parks. Also in the area where you live, if you go to the U.S. Forest Service, there's these areas where there's hiking trails, more rugged, more in the mountains if you're ready to go a little farther. But yeah, I would start local. Start with your local hiking trail. And now that we're still in the restrictions for COVID are starting to be restricted, but it's still a good thing to wear a buff or a mask and then just pull it up when you're around people. Some hiking trails are narrow, and so you'll come into contact with people within 6 feet. So just to watch for that as well.
Yeah.
And and just enjoy it. I mean, it's I think I don't have to tell you sort of the research that's out there, how hiking and being in nature is good for you. So just enjoy your time out there, and so that's a good place to start.
Awesome. So for the PCT, what was the what was your favorite spot, like your favorite view, or like have the perfect weather for you, or like just like the most beautiful?
Wow. Well, I had been to the Sierra before. There's a trail called the John Muir Trail that's in the Sierra. It's also called Numupoyo. That's the Native American indigenous name for that for the trail. So I did sections of the JMT in 2016 and 2018,
Okay.
and that trail is amazing. It's spectacular in the summer. I went through it in the snow when I did the PCT, but I had been there before in August when there was no snow, so I knew what that was like. And I have to say, it's just stunning. It's just the most stunning. You just feel you're in a postcard. Like, how is this real? Yeah, definitely the JMT.
Yeah. So, like, brain part on the question.
Well, let me tell you something that you haven't asked. So I mentioned earlier that we all have trail names, and the trail name is.
Maybe I was like, maybe that's personal. Maybe she wants to keep that, but I was debating on it.
So a trail name is something. It's like your alter ego. It's something that you accept. So someone gives it to you. Sometimes people give themselves trail names, but most of the time, if you do something dumb or you're known for something, then that's your trail name. But they're not meant in a kind of a mocking or mean-spirited way. It's usually pretty funny. I hiked with Crazy Burrito, and she got her trail name because she ate a bad burrito the day before she started. So she got sick. So they called her Burrito, and then she got the Crazy just because, her personality. Yeah. My trail name is Flamethrower.
Wow, okay.
And that's because I had a tiny little stove that made a huge noise. Like, it was like a flamethrower when I turned it on. And at the beginning of the trail, I was the only person in my group that I knew that was cooking in the morning. Like, I always had my coffee and I always had my oatmeal.
Yeah.
And everybody else was kind of ready to go, and I was still like finishing, or they knew. So they knew that I was awake when they heard the stove go on, in the morning. I'm like, okay, she's awake. So they called me Flamethrower, and I took that trail name.
What does mental health mean to you? Because you talk a lot about how this has changed you, and I think mental health does play a big part in that.
What does mental health mean to me? Mental health, it's being in harmony with yourself. I think it's finding balance. It's to me is having all the elements in my life align, to be aligned with my values, to be well, to be at peace, is to have good mental health. So I think what peace looks like or balance, it varies for every person. But for me, it's basically to have a good balance between my work and my family life, and also spending time doing the things I love, like hiking or running or painting.
Yes, I like that answer. And then 2 is, what are you currently playing on your playlist? And then what are you currently watching on Netflix?
Okay, I just finished Kentified on Netflix. I
sitting there because I really want to take the time and watch it. I have shows that I watch where I'm tired and I might fall asleep. So, but it's in my list and it's on my list to watch. But you can tell me about it.
Kentified is really good. It's actually set in my neighborhood. I live in Boyle Heights in LA. So it's really cool because I see these places that are, I drive by every day. They're in my neighborhood. So that's really cool. I also love the Taco Chronicles on Netflix because, I love food. And it's about the different types of tacos that you can eat from Mexico. And I also finished the Michelle Obama documentary, Becoming.
Yes, also on my list. I actually have the book right there.
It's really good. Yeah, and the documentary is good. Kind of follows her on her book tour and talks to people that she met along the way. So that was really good. What's on my playlist? Let's see. I have a lot of top 40. I like really kind of upbeat music. So a funny story is that when I left for the trail, that was March of last year. I listen to the radio sometimes in my car. When I came back, I heard Lizzo. I had no idea who she was. Apparently she blew up last summer. Like she was everywhere. And it was like being like I was in another planet, and then I came back and it was, Lizzo. So I've been listening to Lizzo. What else? I listen to a lot of audiobooks too, because when I was on the trail, I would listen to books from the library. I downloaded books from the Libby app, so they were free.
So great, helpful tool during COVID too. So
yeah, so I was too tired to read in my tent, because I have the Kindle on my phone, but I was just, I was just too tired. So I would listen to books when I was on the trail, and I went through a lot of them. I can't even think of. Well, there's a few novels. There's one called Where'd You Go, Bernadette, and that was kind of like a comedy. Yeah, that was one that I can think of. But yeah, I listened to a lot of books. Yeah, those are my. And also on Spotify, I listened recently. There's an artist from Mexico, Natalia Lafourcade. There's this one song that I would play on a loop when I was hiking. It's called Hasta la Raíz, and it's one of my favorite songs. So yeah, I listen to that. I usually kind of tend to wear out a song. I listen to it until I'm sick of it.
It's like a bad habit. Like it doesn't matter if like the song's old or new. Like I hear it and then like I'll play it like a dozen times until I'm tired of it. So
yeah.
So that's all I have. Again, thank you so much for coming on and telling me your experience with the PCT. I'm excited to get like this out so that the kids can see it too. We went hiking today here in Martinez called Mount Wanda, and that was like rigorous enough for me. I was like super tired afterwards, but it was fun and got some pretty cool views. So thank you for sharing. I'm hoping to also try to discover more hiking places myself. So thank you. Eating and talking with us. Found out some really cool stuff about the Pacific Crest Trail. That ends my video for camp week, and tune into all the other videos for the first week of summer because they're awesome. Tune in for more content throughout the summer. Like our videos, subscribe. Also, if you have any cool ideas for challenges, ideas, thoughts, questions, feel free to email me with parent permission, and I will see you guys next time.